What's up, traders? Sandro O'Connell with Pristine Capital coming at you with yet another market recap video. It is September 16th, 2021. Please go ahead, click the like button on the video, subscribe to my channel if you enjoy this content. I'll continue to make it. Today we actually have a guest appearance. We have a co-host today, team. We have our buddy Waffles. He's actually asleep in the chair next to me, and he's been hanging out with me for most of the trading session. Today for this video, we are going to talk about the price action, the indices. It's been pretty crazy. We'll go through some of my trades for today and really what to expect moving forward in terms of some potential scenarios. So let's jump into this video. Before I do so, quick risk disclaimer. Nothing in this video should be construed as investment advice or recommendations. Please follow your own trading plan and your own risk parameters. Last but certainly not least, do not YOLO your account into any one of my trades or anyone's trades for that matter. Let's jump into the video. One other thing I do want to mention, we had some really nice collaboration going within the Pristine Capital trading community today. It was awesome, and I just want to keep that going. That's really what this group was created for. It was created for a bunch of traders to get together, share ideas, support one another, and really just level up their trading game. So yeah, definitely shout out to everyone in the community, sharing some trade ideas. We're going to talk through one of my trades today. There's actually a name that one of our members, brought to everyone's attention. So that's so cool. And then we had another, person sharing a script that helps them within their toss setup. So yeah, if you're interested in joining our community, feel free to check out pristinecapital.net. Feel free to send me an email, a DM, whatever you want. All right, let's jump into the vid. Okay, so S&P 500, this is our late night edition. The futures are actually open for trades. This is kind of cool. But for today's price action, we had, let's take a look at our box scores. And what did we have for today? Okay, yeah, so these indices, pretty mixed across the board. We have the S&P 500 as measured by the SPY close down 0.16%. We had the NASDAQ QQQ close up 0.07%. We had the IWM small caps also closing up 0.07%. And we had the Dow Jones closing down 0.18%. That was our big laggard for the day, those dogs of the Dow. In terms of market breadth, definitely mixed. And you can see the NASDAQ QQQ had 63% advancers. But then the Dow Jones, had as low as 23% advancers. So overall breadth, still pretty weak. And what I'm seeing is, although we're overall in a relatively weak tape, there are some areas of the market that are really showing very nice strength. All right, so let's jump into these indices. Okay, so S&P 500, take a look at what's going on here. So I have these downward trend lines drawn, and you can see we had a pullback to the 50-day moving average. Yesterday, we kind of blasted right off that 50-day, and it was like, man, we're getting some traction at the upside. Looked like we might be breaking out again. Today, we actually bumped into some resistance, and we sold off throughout the session. This was definitely a very weird auction. For me, it ended up working out very well. I played the short side in the morning, and I played the long side into the afternoon. I basically caught the bottom in the S&P 500 pretty nicely today. So we'll talk about that with my trades. But yeah, you can see, market is definitely recognizing this downward trend line. So we were riding it for a little while today. Then the bottom fell out, and we traded lower. And then throughout the afternoon, check this out. On low volume, you can see that down here, we moved to the upside. And then at the very end of the day, we had some selling and some profit taking. So we still have that question mark hanging out above us of, are we actually breaking this downtrend? Or was this just, yet another bounce within the downtrend? My current market bias and the way that I'm positioned is we are going to break the downtrend over the next, few days, weeks, etc. And we are going to make this test of this 4490 spot 75. I could certainly be wrong on that. If I am wrong, I'll have to change my positioning. And if I'm wrong, maybe we fall down to the bottom end of this downward trend channel. But what's happening, which I think is good, is, we had every reason to fall into the abyss earlier today when we were trading down towards these lows. Like for a while, I was thinking, oh yeah, we're definitely going to test this 50-day again. Maybe we're even going to head down to this monthly point of control. Just not a good look. But then dip buyers really came in. So let's actually, since we're talking about the S&P 500, I traded this SPY earlier today. And I must say, when you have a sequence like this is just like, really fun. So this is like, trading a lot of times it's not fun. A lot of times you're stopping out of trades, maybe you're having a drawdown in your P&L, a lot of different things can happen. But what I love about being a trader is that when you hit something the correct way, there's really no better feeling professionally than like really nailing a trade. So this one was a lot of fun for me because I entered these SPY September 17th 446 puts for $2.42. I did that right at 9:54 a.m. and I'll share with you what I was seeing at that moment. So right around 9:40, this is our 5-minute chart. So in the morning you can see this is our daily value area. And so this is, measures the price action from the day before and the significant levels. So in the morning, what I noticed is, hey, we tried to jump out of this daily value area, but we didn't really have any luck. And what I noticed was right around 9:40, it really looked like we were about to fail at this daily point of control. And pretty much what I did was, as soon as I saw that it looked like we were failing, and like we were going to slide lower, I just entered those puts. And I, got the expiration expiring tomorrow. So definitely a very speculative instrument that I used, could have easily gone to zero. Probably would have just taken a stop before that happened though. But yeah, once we broke this daily point of control, I was like, okay, the momentum is to the downside. We're probably going to test this daily value area low. And that's pretty much exactly what happened to a T. So, a lot of times it doesn't work out, textbook like that, where, you just read the technicals and they just bring you to the promised land, but it worked out today. So yeah, enter these for $2.42. I took a target at $2.91. Then I took another target at $3.79. So that was a really nice target where it was like, okay, I made, about over a 50% winner on these puts. And then the remaining piece of my puts, I closed out for $3.58. Then what was really cool about this was then I entered long. So literally like 2 minutes later, we tagged the daily value area low and it looked like we were holding at that level. So I saw we tagged down here. We got, I believe, these two candles. I waited for, just a couple of minutes to see what was going to happen. And that's where I entered my long position. So I took September 30th. I went out 2 weeks in time because I didn't have as much conviction in the long as I did the short. So I entered the 444 calls for 461, and we sort of went off to the races for the rest of the day. So it was like, first half of the day, boom, down to the lows. Second half of the day, we were ripping higher. What was even more interesting is that we ripped to the upside, and then it was like, oh man, we might really go off to the races, and like, that was all just a shakeout, and we're gonna rip higher. But then at the end of the day, this is 3 o'clock, literally in the final hour of trade, the market softened up again. So look at this, then we ended up trading lower. We're right around all these key moving averages on this 5-minute chart, and it really left the day on a very ambiguous note. So that's the nuance. That's really the story of the day. There's a lot of ambiguity heading into the close because, dip buyers came in to support us when we were on the lows, but sellers emerged when we were on the high. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens tomorrow. I'm pretty pumped, actually. I can't wait. But the more we consolidate sideways, you can see the more we're exiting this downward trend channel, even if, we don't really make any progress tomorrow. So yeah, definitely very interesting. I'm going to leave it there for the indices because, we'll just really quickly look. Russell is in no man's land. Because maybe some of you guys watching, maybe you have trades on in these indices. YM, this is our Dow Jones, really just consolidating. I don't like the look of this one at all. And then NASDAQ. NASDAQ, I think, looks the best. We're above the 20-day simple moving average. So yeah, really looking strong. Okay, so those are our indices because I don't want to make this like a 40-minute video. This is our FinViz heat map. And you can see that we started to get, some of these mega cap tech companies, really coming online toward the end of the day. Microsoft up ever so slightly, Amazon, Tesla, and we had Google, Facebook, and Apple lagging behind. We started to get some strength within the semis group. You can see Applied Materials up 2%. AMD had a nice move. I traded AMD today as well. But yeah, overall, you can see there were a lot of losers as well. Our sector map, this is so interesting. So at the top of our leaderboard, we have the semis. Then we have the next generation SPAC ETF. So we have SPACs in the second slot. And it just seems odd, like semis and SPACs. And then we have this Spider Innovative Tech ETF as well. So definitely just kind of like this smorgasbord of, themes that are at the top of the leaderboard. So I think that also tells me, hey, this market's a little bit wonky. And then at the bottom of our list, we have aerospace and defense. We have utilities, and the gold miners really just gave up the ghost today, down over 4%. So yeah, if you look at this list, we did have some green areas. Mobile payments had a very nice performance as well, up 1.29%. But yeah, it was a tale of two tapes, some haves and some have-nots. Style factors, we had a few positive style factors. We had high beta, slightly positive, momentum pretty much unchanged, and growth slightly positive. Our big losers, high div low vol was down 0.73%. And what else was our big loser? Our big loser was cyclicals, down 0.52%. All right, let's jump into some of my trades for the day. We already talked about my SPY trading. That was, pretty cool. But then I had other trades as well. So yeah, I entered some Datadog January calls. Datadog looks very nice on the chart. Yeah, look at this. So I've been tracking this name for a while and I've been trading it pretty actively. And for this trade, like I see, okay, Datadog's actually breaking out now. Let me not just buy short-term calls. Let me go a little bit further out. Because once the stock actually breaks out, you don't want to get shaken out of your position and all that stuff. So yeah, I bought some January 2022 calls at the 145 strike. I closed out my Futu calls. So this one, I had the September 24th 100 strike calls. And this is a good example of sometimes you put on a position and it just doesn't do what you wanted it to do or what you're expecting it to do. So yesterday I put on these Futu calls. Futu ended up being green on the day. I was like, okay, it's showing relative strength, looking good. As of yesterday, I was up maybe 10% on my calls into the close. And then today, these Chinese names were weak. Futu really just did not show any strength. It was down 4.84%. So I actually had some other opportunities I was looking at. I was like, let me close out this name. It's just so weak. And it invalidated my thesis. So I closed these out for 222. I had paid 380 and I put that money into AMD. So AMD, this one, I wanted to have some exposure within the semis group. And AMD, it's holding on to this monthly value area low. And it's, it finished nice and green on the day, up 0.59%. So we'll see what happens with AMD. In hindsight, this may have been an even better one to trade, Applied Materials. And this one's going to be on my watch list for tomorrow. Look at this. It's really spotting up very nicely for a breakout. Ooh, this is like poetry in motion to me. This looks beautiful. So yeah, it looks really, really nice. Now let's compare that to the chart for AMD. AMD also looks really good in its own right. This is a completely different chart, but this one, actually, you can make an argument this one looks just as good. It's just different. It really depends on what kind of setups you like, because this one, it had a nice move to the upside. It's been consolidating for maybe 5 or 6 weeks, whereas Applied Materials, just a different look. It's closer to the top end of the range, but this one has been consolidating, for a good 6 months. So yeah, I just think this group overall looks very good. And then, so I closed out Futu, whatever. Yeah, and that was all I did on the option side. And then I did do some common stock trading. So shout out to AJ and the Pristine Capital trading community. This was a call out from him in the morning. So this is the beautiful thing about the trading community, where you know, this is exactly how I envisioned it. So like, I'm going to be in the room, you know, I provide everyone with all my live trades, you know, my trading log, you know, position updates, like I do webinars, like all that good stuff. And I provide a lot of market analysis. But yeah, like, you know, I certainly don't want it to be, you know, just me posting in there. Like that's, you know, members, we're all traders, you know, some people are going to find certain setups that other people aren't and vice versa. So yeah, like, you know, we have some good traders in the group now where it's like, you know, AJ just pointed out, hey, Signet Jewelers, you know, looks good. And I was like, yeah, this one does look really good. Like I want to trade this one too. So yeah, I jumped into this one pretty soon off the open. This is the weekly chart of Signet Jewelers. This one has been a really nice performer throughout 2021. Check this out. Really nice weekly chart. And yeah, it looks, you know, really good. Did not close on the highs. But yeah, up from where I purchased this morning. So yeah, looking good for Signet Jewelers. And that's the thing with trading. I know a lot of people, they're like, oh no, I wouldn't join a trading community. Like I can do it all on my own. And that's 100% the ego talking, because in trading and investing, really what matters is just getting the right answers, like finding the setups, you know, all that stuff. It does not matter if the setup came from your head or like, you know, you were the one that posted it or whatever. Like that's just silly. That's where like you're still in the mindset of like your ego is just so huge. And that's where you're never really going to have success anyway. So yeah, just very interesting. And like the more you do this trading career, trading game, yeah, the more you realize like it's all about just, you know, getting the results really. You know, it doesn't matter if it's coming from your head, someone else's head, whatever. All right. So that's enough for that. Let's go through some of these other stock trades. So I got long MongoDB, MDB, common shares for 506.86. His name looks awesome. This one's up 1.22% today. Yeah, another one that's green from where I purchased it. And this looks really solid. This is a nice power earnings gap setup. This name had very strong results. The 20-day simple moving average is starting to catch up with price. It's not quite there yet. But yeah, this one just looks like a really good candidate for further upside. So entered that one. I tried day trading this SPRW, SunPower. There was a headline that it was like SunPower was going to be providing solar lighting for all Toll House new construction. So I was like, okay, maybe this one will get a nice move. And yeah, it really did not. Yeah, so it closed pretty much right where I closed it. That's how you can tell this group is just so weak, where even if there's a good headline, it just gets sold into. So this one, yeah, I purchased it for $21.87. I stopped out for $21.77. So this one, literally a 10-cent loser, basically a little scratch, no big deal. So I reallocated this capital to a new trade. Roblox. I closed out this position for $81.50. I paid $82.05. And I put here, I'm not liking the relative weakness. This stock might not be ready for prime time just yet. And that's really like, you know, what I was feeling in the moment, because Roblox. So a lot of the names I was trafficking in were having really nice performance days. You know, they were up on the session, all that good stuff. Roblox, you know, closed almost on the lows for today, and it failed at this point of control. So I was like, you know what? I got a pretty decent trade location on this yesterday. I'm going to close out and try to upgrade to a better exposure. So I took the money out of Roblox and I put it into Palantir. Boom! Palantir. This thing looks elegant. So Palantir, you know, I posted this on Twitter. Of course, you know, some trolls literally emerged like immediately. And basically what I was saying is the risk to reward, in my opinion, is better in Palantir now than it has been for the last 6 months. And I'll show you what I mean by that. So with Palantir, and again, this goes down to, are you a trend trader or are you a counter trend trader? So there's been a lot of people that have been ranting and raving about Palantir. Oh my gosh, it's the best stock since sliced bread. but it's been a horrible stock to own for the past 6 months. It has literally done nothing. So with Palantir, like, I'm not going to buy this when it's just trending sideways. That doesn't look good to me. But look at this today. We had nice relative volume, 109 million shares traded, and we finally pushed out of this consolidation zone. What makes a stock go down? A stock goes down very simply because there are sellers that sell the stock and push it down. Look how much volume has gone off within this 6-month range. So much volume. Look at all of it. So these are all potential sellers that are right in here. Now that we've pushed out of that range, look at how much activity's occurred up here. Literally nothing. So in terms of overhead supply and people that could potentially come in, sell the stock, make it go lower, there's now so much less overhead supply. So that's why for me, the risk reward is really good here. Of course, tomorrow, like, if the whole market's red and then Palantir's red, there's going to be so many trolls that literally just come after me on Twitter because they're stupid. They're just like little anon accounts and whatever. So I really shouldn't even worry about them. But yeah, that's really what I'm thinking about Palantir allocated to this trade. And then, yeah, that was about it for my trading for today. We'll have to see what happens tomorrow. Before we close out here, let's check out our VigTech options race. Let's see. Okay, so we had Tesla in the lead early in the day. Tesla's almost always in the lead. Then we had SPY coming in hot. What else did we have? This IRNT, appearing on our list again. Check this out. So let's see IRNT. Oh, I didn't realize. Yeah, Palantir is appearing on the list. AMD is appearing on the list. So let's check out all these names. So Palantir we already looked at. IRNT. What? So this one was up another 28.85%. But it opened up and it closed lower than where it opened. So this is a crazy name to trade. If you just bought this one in the open, you did not make money. Basically what you had to do was be watching this all day, see the dip, buy into the dip, and then maybe those players made money. So these names, they're just very difficult to trade. They have big gaps to the up and down side. This one's not really my style, to be perfectly honest. And then we had Palantir, already talked about that one. AMD, we already looked at that one. Yeah, so other than that, pretty much the usual suspects for our options race. That about does it for today's market recap video. Hope everyone had an awesome session. Once again, please go ahead, click the like button on the video, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you all tomorrow.